first-hand experience, people can get stuck and struggle to know where to go next, what to do. So I just thought I'd ask John if he would be up for running a session so he can share his insight and some top tips on how to succeed in this business, especially if you run out of momentum. And of course, he agreed because he's all about helping others. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to chat to John, ask him a few questions. He's going to share his experiences. And then at the end, there'll be a chance for you to ask him some questions as well. So I recommend having a pen and paper to hand as we go through, because I imagine he'll be sharing some really, really good nuggets of information. So, John, I'm just going to ask you if you can start by telling us your background and how you came into this business.
Yeah, absolutely. Firstly, thank you for doing this, Vicky. It's great to see you growing, as you mentioned, and actually taking something yourself and getting this up and running, because it's strange actually being interviewed by somebody of my own team rather than being a guest for somebody else. So you've put me on a strange situation, really. I've actually been really nervous today. I don't know if it's because Brody's got sickness and diarrhea, or I've picked it up that I keep going to the toilet. I don't know if it's that or it's the fact that I'm nervous, really. So, I don't know which one it is, but no, honestly, thank you for doing this. And also for you guys, well done and jumping on, because it was short notice, wasn't it? I think it was either yesterday or the day before that we asked, and we've got sort of 25 people on. So well done for giving up your time and jumping on this evening. So yeah, hopefully I'll run through some stuff today. We're just going to have a nice general chat, and hopefully there's going to be some advantages for some of you guys. So if you do take some notes as I'm going through, rather than just sort of tips and stuff that I'm going to be saying, just scribble down what's relevant for you, if that makes sense, as we go through it. But yeah, going right to my background, I think most of you know me. I haven't spoken to everybody because obviously we are growing phenomenally in this business at the moment, and this team is growing some really, really fast pace at the minute. So apologies if I haven't spoken to you personally, but as you all know, I am always there if you need me, so you can drop me a message or text or give me a phone call as and when you need me, okay? So yeah, so background. My background was predominantly fitness. I was a fitness manager for many years, and a personal trainer for the local authorities and the NHS, working a lot of referral-based clients towards the back end of my career. Back end of my career, that makes me sound really old, doesn't it? The back of my career, and a semi-professional rugby player. So that was sort of my profession, really. Started UW well over 10 years ago. Now it's probably around 15 years ago. And it was actually my best friend who I grew up playing rugby with, Mark Harris, which most of you obviously had the privilege of either sharing a drink or a text or a call or anything with Mark. And what he did, the way I joined, is, I'm going to show my age here, is he passed me a CD. Okay, so it wasn't a VOP, it wasn't a virtual opportunity or anything like that. He passed me a CD, a physical CD. Okay, I remember it vividly. I was in his silver Fiesta, a silver Fiesta he had. He was in his silver Fiesta and was off to rugby. And he passed me this CD and went, "John, can you give this to Craig?" I was like, "Why? What is it?" And he goes, "Oh, you won't be. It's not for you. You won't be interested, but I know Craig will be, because he needs to do something." And I was like, "Why would I want to do it?" So I didn't say anything. He just explained a couple of bits. I was like, "Okay." And after rugby, I went home, played it, and then signed up. He didn't even do any presentations or anything. And I rang Mark and said, "Mark, I've signed up. What do we do?" And he goes, "Really?" And I went, "Yeah." And he goes, "To be honest, I don't know," because he was fairly new in the business at the time himself. So he didn't have a clue really what to do. So it was basically trying to teach each other, going at it blind. And one of the things is, a little tip really, a lot of us get caught up with what to say, what to do, and what information should we give people, because we do have so many different bits of information at the moment. We get confused. When there's too much information, what do confused people tend to do? Usually not a lot, okay? So rather than overthinking it, we can't give the wrong thing to the right person. So all he did was give me some information and that it was right for me. He didn't know that because he gave it to me, asking me to give it to Craig, because he thought Craig would be really, really good at the business because he needed the money. He was in and out of jobs all the time. And I think he worked for, what was the company called? Wimpy. Does anybody remember Wimpy?
Yeah.
So it's like a Burger King thing, isn't it, Wimpy? I don't know if it's an American thing. And he said, Craig's really, really good with people. He always needs some money. Can you give that to Craig? And because of my curiosity, I watched it. And the thing that really got me was, one, the residual income aspect of it, but also the fear of missing out. I didn't want my best friend to go off and do all these really great things. And then 5, 10 years, whatever it was down the line, I went, bloody hell, I've missed out there. Because I didn't want to miss out, basically. So sometimes we get caught up with what to say and what to do to people. But in reality, it's just sharing the opportunity with people. And if the timing's right for that person, they will join. Okay.
But it's also, I guess, about not prejudging, because he prejudged you, didn't he? So just show it to everyone.
Yeah, sure. We're in show business. Show everybody the opportunity. And what a thing. If he didn't pass that, if I didn't use that, pass that on to me to pass on to Craig, in a bit of a way, third party thing, isn't it? If that never happened, I mean, if you know Mark, you know he's now traveling. He's in Bali at the moment with his kids. They've been there, I think, about 8 months now, doing a little bit of traveling, and they've settled in Bali. They're going to be in Bali for the next 2 years. So they've got a visa for the next 2 years. Now, I'm not saying it wouldn't have happened, but he wouldn't have had this amazing team as his SGL. So we bring in over 80% of his business. Or we are worth 80% of his business. So just by that flippant conversation, he's now living in Bali with his kids. They're having an amazing time. So you just never know what's going to happen for that little bit of a conversation.
Absolutely. I know you took a step back for a while, didn't you? And then you got restarted. What made you restart?
Restart, yeah. So I'll rewind it a little bit. We didn't do too well the first time. We did get to group leader. So we got to group lead in about 3 years from joining. And this is at a time where I say that the business is too easy at the minute. Back then, if you were in the business back then, you wouldn't have known what was going on and what to expect, and how we are at over nearly 1.5 million customers now. It was paper copies. We had to fax things off and all this sort of stuff. And I lived in an area where we couldn't do broadband, so I had to drive obviously about an hour to go to do an appointment, and the appointments used to last 1.5 to 2 hours. Then I used to have to drive back to get home, and I used to do this after like rugby training. So I'd be finishing rugby, go and do this. I'd have my tea in my car, I'd grab some pasta, I'll be having my tea, wolfing it down before I do the appointment. I'll be getting home sort of 12 midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was getting paid £5 back then. £5. And now we can get £400 for 20 minutes work. Sat at home with my cup of tea, and just how that business has changed. Okay. So the amount of time we had to put in to actually build the business then took a lot longer, whereas now it can be a lot faster. And a few things changed in the business. And I was a little bit more hot-headed back then as well. So I threw my toys out the pram a little bit and decided this business wasn't for me. Okay. So I did take a step back for about 3 or 4 years. And there was a couple of things that made me come back. I mean, we dropped status numerous times. We went from group leader and we went all the way back down to team leader. And I think there's only now one active person since the first time I did this business. So we've built a brand new business since then. So we went from team leader to senior group leader in a space of 16 months with a brand new team. Where I was going backwards before. Whereas And the thing that really stuck in my mind was two things. I started another business because I love the concept of network marketing. That was going to give me what I wanted out of life. And I just thought this business wasn't going to do that back then because of where I lived in the UK. It just didn't work. So I either had to relocate or do something different. So I tried something different. I tried a product-based business. So I went down the fitness and well-being route, because obviously that was predominantly my background. I thought that would be easier. So I started to do that, made some good money in the first couple of years, but what I found I was constantly flogging over and over and over and over again just to make some good money. And there was no real residual income in there because it's not a recurring service, where this is a recurring service. You do the work once, you're going to get paid forever. And I went off traveling as well, did a bit of traveling for a couple of months. So whilst I was doing that business, I had to stay a partner with them. It was costing me £60 or £70 per month because I had to buy things on auto ship. And even though I'd put this business down for about 3 or 4 years, I was still getting paid whilst I was traveling. Now, granted, it wasn't thousands and thousands of pounds, but it was still hundreds of pounds. And I hadn't touched it for years. So that was a bit of a penny drop for me. I was like, one's costing me money and one's still earning me money, and I haven't touched it. That's real passive income, because I'd not done the business at all, seriously. And if I did do the business, it was pretty crap what I did. All right, so I went away and I came back and I was like, bloody hell, there's something in this business, isn't there? Do you know what I mean? How can somebody keep paying me and I haven't done anything? So I actually relocated. I thought, right, I'm going to give everything to this business. So I moved out of Hull, and obviously Hull, we can offer broadband for the first time. Hull is now alive, but yeah, I moved out of Hull, relocated, and I didn't know anybody in the area, and I just started from scratch. And then the thing that really made me get started was Amy falling pregnant. That became a real business for me rather than a hobby. So previously I used it as fun money.
Yeah.
And then as soon as Amy fell pregnant, I wanted to be a dad that was present for my kids. Because my dad wasn't there for me, really. He was either working away or whatever he was doing. And I wanted to be that present dad. I wanted them to grow up and enjoy the stories that we made whilst they were growing up. And that was my real purpose and my real why. And I've never had like a handout, as in family members being able to bail me out here, there, or everywhere, or pass me on something. It's always had to be on my own. And I wanted something, a financial security for me now, obviously the family now growing up, but a financial security to pass on to my kids. Because I didn't want them to sort of go through the stuff that I've had to go through. I wanted them to be set up for life. And it was their choice what they wanted to do then. Do you know what I mean? When they grew up and they're 18, it's entirely up to them. But I mean, I have Oakley and Brody now saying they want to join the team, and they're only 5 and 3. And they're like, when can we join? Can I come to work with you? And they are excited. And I don't know how, because I don't really show them much, but they just see what's going on and possibly the excitement. I don't know what it is, but so the long story short, that was my purpose, that was my why, and decided to treat it as like a real business. And what I did, so that was February 2020, Oakley was born. And when Amy fell pregnant in 2019, residual income wise, a lot of my friends and family said I was stupid because I was on about £250, £300 residual income, somewhere around that figure. It wasn't much because, like I said, my business collapsed pretty much. So I was a team leader. There wasn't much. Well, there was nothing happening in my team unless I did something. That was the only way my business was going to grow at that particular point. And I decided just to go all in with UW. I was like, I gave up my job. And my friends, my family going, what are you doing? Amy's pregnant, blah, blah, blah. You need to get a job. I was like, no, if I give this my all, I've seen other people be successful. So what are they doing differently to what I'm doing? And then the main thing was just finding your purpose and the main reason for you doing the business. Because for me, if you flip it the other way around, I said to them, they're stupid going to work for somebody else for 8 hours and getting paid 60, 70, 80 quid, 100 quid a day, whatever it is that what they're getting paid. Whereas if I put 6, 7, 8 hours into my own business, what could I achieve? Because to replace my income, I only needed 2 customers a week. 2 customers, it takes you half an hour to sign a customer up. Granted, we have to put the groundwork in to get them, but the rest of that time is for me.
Yeah. So, absolutely. Nothing like children to motivate you, make you realise what's important in life, right? But most people don't quit their job immediately, do they? They have to get that sort of both things going at the same time, and doing a bit of a juggling act. But that's fine if you want this. That's what you do. So I hear a lot of feedback that people, when they run out of contacts and they're getting lots of no's and generally not really getting anywhere, what tips can you give to help people move their business forward when they're in that situation?
It's quite varied, really, because everyone's different. It's finding your personality, what works for your personality. For me, that was one of the things I had to do, was go all in, if that makes sense, because I knew the nail wasn't rusty enough going to work, basically. If I knew I was going to get a paycheck at the end of the month from going to the gym, I knew I wouldn't put all my all into this business. So I went from, like I say, the hobby style to treating it like a proper business. And we had a quick chat earlier, didn't we, Vic, and saying sometimes I find the issue with the business is it is too easy and there's no real outlay. So people treat it as a £10 business, not a business that's generally going to change their lives. So if you invested, I don't know, rather than £10, £10,000 into this business, hand on heart, look yourself in the mirror and say, would you give the same effort as you do now that you paid £10 for, or would you have put more work into it if you invested £10,000? What would your answer be?
Yeah, definitely. You'd put more work in, wouldn't you? It is too easy sometimes.
And I had to do that. I knew I evaluated for myself. So what I think we have to do this ourselves. We have to review things, don't we? What's happening? What are we doing currently, month by month, day by day, week by week? Then we have to reflect what's working well, what's not working so well, and then sort of revise that. So if things didn't go well, what am I going to do? What am I going to put into place? Because everyone's individual. There's no point in me saying, Vic, you do this, Miranda, you do that, Jules, you do this. Do you know what I mean? It is individual. You have to find the main driving force that's going to get you motivated every single day of your life, because motivation only lasts so long. So once you jump on one of these calls or you come to the trainings, we're motivated for a few days. But once you find that burning desire to actually make something work, you'll do anything to make it work. And I think that's the main barrier for most people. So when it gets hard, because we haven't invested enough time, enough money, or maybe enough time, it's easier for us to sit back and go, it's too hard, this. Oh, do you know what I mean? I'm going to be honest. I always wear my heart on my sleeve, and I'm just honest with people. There's no point in me saying everything's easy and blah, blah, blah. You do have to put the work in. So I knew I had to make myself really uncomfortable for me to get off my backside and do the work, because that's just the way I am. I need a goal. I need a target. I need something to work towards. So giving up work and going all in. And what I did by going all in, I just treated it like I was going to work. So I obviously got an office sorted, and I used to go in as if I was clocking into work. I would go in at 9 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning, And there's quite a few on the call tonight that we used to do coffee mornings. So every single morning, I would do a coffee morning. Yes, that was for the team, but what it really was for myself. As in, I'm clocking into work today. So I ran a coffee morning, 9 o'clock every day. If people joined, brilliant, it was there for them. If they didn't, I would still do my work and do my job. And I wouldn't leave the office till 4 o'clock. I would still go and have my lunch and stuff like that. But I would treat it like a proper job and a business. Because if I invested 10, 20, 30, 40,000 pounds, I'm going to put that time in. Because, like you're saying there, how easy is it to earn the money that we really need to replace your income?
Mm.
How many customers, how many partners, what is it that you need to do physically to replace the income that you're doing now?
So what were you doing on your days in the office? Like, how were you getting customers? How were you getting partners? What techniques were you using?
I was just generally just talking to people all the time. So that could be team, new people, building a list. Because you've got to think, when people say they've run out of people to speak to, have they run out of people to speak to, or is that a barrier that they're coming across?
Yeah.
Because do we all know people?
Yeah, there's some people I haven't spoken to because I'm a bit like, oh, not quite there yet. So, yeah.
Yeah, we all know people. Everybody in the UK over the age of 18, there's no niche market. Everybody over the age of 18 can do this business. And what is it, 27 million households in the UK? And we've got 1 million of them. So there's 26 million households in the UK. So theoretically, we can't run out of people to speak to.
Mm.
Could we? We can't, because everyone you speak to, we've got 3% of the market. So you speak to 100 people, only 3 of them are already going to be customers. So you've still got 97 other people to go and speak to. Now, this depends on your skills, your own personality, how you will speak to these different types of people. But again, I keep saying a lot of it burns down to your own desire and your willpower. So yes, sometimes we have to upskill, but when you revise that and review the things that we need to change, what areas do I need to change? And I did that when I stepped away. I was like, if I'm going to do this properly, full time, what areas do I need to improve upon? Because obviously I wasn't where I wanted to be, because otherwise I would have already been senior group leader or NGL, wherever. So there's obviously things that I was doing that weren't working. So what is it that I needed to do to improve upon? Because the business, it's a self-development business, isn't it? It's not customers really or partners. You invest in people. So the more we put into somebody, the more you're going to get out of it. So yeah, that's forgot what the question was now.
This is about what your sort of go-to actions are if things slow down. Can you share a few phrases that you use with people that work quite well? So you always say to me that everybody you meet is an opportunity to show this business to. How do you sort of introduce that to people that you meet?
Yeah, so going back to your question a little bit as well. So when I relocated and I didn't know anybody, I did use social media as a way to build my network. Now, networking can be done in any shape or form. Networking could be if you go into the gym or going to your school, you can speak to people. That could be networking. I know you've come on leaps and bounds, Vicky, and you've actually joined a networking group, BNI. And you were saying earlier when we had a quick chat, you could never imagine yourself doing something like that. But what we do, we force ourselves when we want something strongly enough. So you've decided to go and network professionally to get around more professional people. At the time, like I said, I relocated, didn't know anybody. The people I did know were already customers. Okay, so, and this was before everything was remote. So the only thing I could physically do, I thought, was because I didn't have the confidence to go networking like you're doing. So massive credit to you, because I couldn't do that, especially at the point where I was at. So I decided to go down social media route, but I use social media to network with people. So to get into conversations, build a list. So everybody you've got on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, any of these social media platforms, that then becomes your list, doesn't it? So we've got our physical list, people in your phone books or people you can think of, and your frogs, your friends, your relatives, occupation, etc. But then we get to a bit of a block. So I grew my network through social media, and that is genuinely endless, isn't it? You could speak to somebody on social media today, you could add somebody on social media tomorrow. So you can replace the person you've spoken to. So it's like an endless list, constantly growing, as long as you're active. But like I say, people can be from anywhere. Trying to think of a recent one. Yesterday, I was sat in the sauna, and someone's like, "You're in here quite a bit, aren't you? What is it you do?" Funny you should say that. And I just got chatting to him. I said, blah, blah, blah. And he said, he was an oldish guy, retired. And he said, the problem is with a lot of us lot, we get ripped off, don't we? Because I've been with the same companies for years and years and years. I said, exactly. I said, what are you doing after you've been in here? He said, not a lot really, until the missus tells me I need to do something. I said, brilliant, let's grab a coffee. I said, I haven't got anything on yet, so until lunchtime, so let's grab a coffee. New customer. Bringing it into natural conversations. What is it you do? I help people save money or make money. Which one would benefit you? Oh, well, he's retired. He's like, making money is not really my bag at the moment, but what do you mean save money? Save money on what? Well, we bundle all your services together and we get you a cheaper deal, simplify things. And then he just let him just moan and moan and moan for ages. I was like, bloody hell, I'm sweating here. I need to go in the shower. So I was like, I need to go in the shower. So let's grab a coffee afterwards. And we got chatting, had a coffee, and he got signed up as a customer. And then he'll go and tell all his mates, because a lot of retired people go and tell their mates, don't they? He said he's got a community. He said, we all buy into oil in the community. I said, brilliant. That community, can we use all them as referrals? And he's like, absolutely. So they all chip in anyway for their oil. So if anyone has oil, like myself in the middle of nowhere, we don't have gas. So they all chip in every month to reduce their oil bill, because they all buy bulk. So all of them people he's now going to contact for referrals. And that was just a natural conversation.
Yeah.
Something else I use really well, I don't know if people are on the call that I was here with, but I always say we can never run out of people. You've got businesses you can go and speak to, but just anybody that gives you a service. So if you're out having a meal, having a drink, coffee, whatever, could we bring the opportunity to somebody? And the easiest thing to do for me is just to compliment them, because most people don't get complimented a lot when they're at work. And just say, look, Vic, you've been brilliant. Your service today has been brilliant. Thank you very much. And I'm just curious, are you open to another income opportunity if the money was exciting enough for you? Because I'm looking at some really switched on, smiley, happy people like yourself in the Penrith area. And out of curiosity, why? What's it about? Look, I won't go into detail now, Vic, because obviously you're at work and you might get into trouble, but could you just pop your name and number in my phone and I'll drop you a message and we'll have a quick chat if that's okay?
Yeah.
And I say this in the chat groups all of the time, but how many of you actually do that?
I did it once, and I put up so much courage to do it, because it's just not what I'm about. And that's what I'm taking from what you're saying, John. You have to put yourself out of your comfort zone. You have to develop yourself to get better at what we're doing.
But what's the worst that they could say?
Yeah.
What is the worst that they could say? And and I do it on purpose. So I was out for a meal. I don't know if they're on tonight. There was a few of us. There was Katie, Paul, a couple of others. We went out for a meal after one of the trainings one time, and they were just quizzing me about recruiting again. And I said, the waitress here, I'll show you. So she came out at the end, And I did exactly what I've just said now. And she said, oh, funny enough, I'm going to Ibiza soon. I'm looking for some extra work. I was like, brilliant. Here's my number. Here's my phone. Put it in and got in touch. And she signed up as a partner two weeks later. And sometimes we overthink of what we need to do. But in reality, we save people money and we make people money. It is that simple. And the only way we can fail, really, is by not asking people and not telling people. And I know for a fact, most people in our team are yellow personality, which means we love to help other people. So what's more helpful, shaving a little bit of people's bills or genuinely helping people change their outcome in life? And what would be worse if you didn't show these people the opportunity? And let's say it's somebody you know, and they found out that you do it 6 months down the line, and they come to you and go, Vic, I wish you told me about this earlier. I could have really done with the money. We've just had our house remortgaged, or I've lost the car, or whatever. You don't know people's circumstances behind closed doors. And at the moment, people literally are generally struggling. Not everyone will admit it, but there's that many households struggling in the UK at the minute. And you have the power to help these people get out of these crappy situations. But you don't know how much will benefit them. It could be £100. Could massively change some people's lives. Do you know what I mean? So when you're speaking to the people, ask them what will benefit them, rather than you telling them how much they could earn. How much would really benefit you at the moment, Vic? And then you say, brilliant, let me show you how you can achieve that.
Okay. So yeah, it's just talking to people, isn't it? Sorry, my family is shouting. Would you mind sharing one thing you wish someone had taught you earlier when you first started out?
That's a tricky one.
Sorry. I think you said it to me once. I think you said referrals, getting referrals spot on.
Getting referrals, definitely. But for me, would be mindset. Don't hold emotion to the outcome. Back in the day, I held so much emotion because people who know me, I'm quite chilled and laid back. But I was very emotional back then, as in, if people didn't do something, I'd be annoyed. Do you know what I mean? It really wound me up. Why the hell wouldn't you do this? Do you know what I mean? Are you stupid not doing this opportunity? Do you know what I mean? That was the way I was at. But as I've obviously, must be an age thing, I'm getting more chilled, more laid back. But the biggest thing was, do not hold emotion to the outcome. We don't know what's going on behind closed doors. As long as we're doing the process, doing the do, we're in control of the activity. But what we're not in control of is if they say yes or no, and holding emotion to the outcome of people's successes and prejudging. So what I mean by that is somebody joining the business and expecting them to be my next superstar, and then 2 days later they disappear off the face of the earth, or they've cancelled, they've blocked me, whatever. Okay, that used to really wind me up. Now I treat it as a ratio. So I try and sign, or do in fact sign, 10 or more partners a month. So pre-COVID, I looked at my stats because head office have just showed me, was just less than 100 partners for over 10 years in the business. Since COVID, I've signed 690 odd personal partners. So in less than 5 years, 690 personal partners. And they haven't told me who's top in that time, but they did say I'm in the top 3, but they said they can't tell us who was top and who was second and who was third. But they said you are in the top 3, but we can't tell you which order in the whole of the company. And previous to that, like I said, less than 100 in over 10 years.
And it's the partners that get you the residual, isn't it? That's
100%. But I did hold emotion to it the first time round. That's what I'm saying. So everyone I brought on, I was expecting them to get me to senior group leader. Whereas now, I know if I recruit 10 partners, 2 of them will do something, as in get to QD or QD star or further down the line that they might do something. So what I do now, if somebody promises me the world and then tomorrow they've cancelled, I'll say, brilliant, you're just one of them 8. And then the next one signs up and just ignores my calls, doesn't even do the training. Brilliant, you're one of the 8. Do you know what I mean? And eventually, one of the 2 signs up. And they're the ones who go, John, I've done the online training, what's next? What do I do now? 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 Brilliant, you're one of the 2. Let's spend more time with you. Do you know what I mean? So as long as you're understanding your own ratios, you're not holding emotion to that outcome. Because I used to sign somebody up and I'll go, right, I don't need to do anything. They're going to get me to SGL now. Brilliant. But in reality, they don't. So the same as the other way. You bring somebody in and it's about prejudgment. You might think, I'm not too sure they're going to do much, you know. And they're the ones sometimes that go, bang, and go and fly out the blocks, get to QD, got to QD start, you know what I mean? And you just don't know who these people are. And I find as long as people are coachable and listen, to become a success. And the de-skill sometimes, because sometimes we overcomplicate it and we overskilled, as in we need to know everything. But if you break it down into reality, we're showing people how to save money, we're showing people how to make money. Everybody signs their own bills up, don't they? You don't need to be a rocket scientist to sign your own energy bill up. Do you know, It's not a complicated thing that we do. So yeah, I'm waffling again. So yeah, prejudgment and mindset, not holding emotion to the outcomes for me.
okay. We'll open the floor to questions in a minute, but before we do, I just wanted to ask you what if you could pick like 5 top tips, what would they be?
Mindset would be number 1. Getting yourself in the right mindset. Communication, as in communicate with people, but rather than being a good talker, be a good listener. Ask people questions and then shut up. Allow them to tell you rather than you tell them. As an example, you could say, Vic, I could be talking to you about the opportunity. I could give you so much information. And the next thing you'll do, I'll say, I'll think about it because I've overloaded you with information. And I haven't asked you what you want to get out of it yet. I've just told you all the benefits and what I get out of it. As in, oh, you get all these holidays, I'm on over X amount residual income, we've got all these bonuses, we've got the Christmas turkey, we've got Christmas turkeys, you need to sign up because you're going to get a Christmas turkey, you're going to get vouchers, you're going to get this, you're going to get that, blah, blah, blah. And you'll be like, whoa, geez, yeah, I'll think about it, I'll come back to you in the new year. But in reality, you've come to me about some information. So what is it that's important to you, Vix? How much would benefit you, or what do you want to do it for? And then just show up and let you speak.
Yeah.
Because if I say you can earn thousands of pounds and your belief level's down here and you only want to earn £100, but I've told you you're going to earn thousands of pounds all of a sudden, you're not going to believe me. Whereas if you said, John, times are hard at the minute, I just really could do with an extra £100, £200 to pay for the shopping, or get the kids some new trainers, or get the kids uniforms, or get them a present for Christmas, whatever it is. Brilliant, Vicky. Let's go and do that. I can show you how to do that. Be a good listener, communicate. And then one what's right up there probably with mindset is that consistency. But that comes with mindset. Because if you're not having the right frame of mind and you're not in the right frame of mind, that consistency will just go like that. You need to create habits that you can do every single day. I know we've got our Team Synergy DMO. Now, that's something I created as a habit, and it helped me to get to where we needed to be. And we're not done yet. We've got loads more to do. But that was a simple daily discipline that I could do no matter what was going on in my life.
Would you explain what DMO is for people that don't know?
Yeah, so daily method of operation, so my daily activities every single day without fail. So I know stuff goes on in people's lives, and obviously I've been in the business many years, and I've had lots of crap going on in my life. But one thing I have never done, I've never downed tools. I've never put the business down. Even when I've had all the stuff going on in the background, there could be, I shared that thing on Facebook, it was quite funny, with the bomb in the background, and I was still walking forwards. You've still got all this crap going on behind you. But again, it goes back to your desire and your purpose. If your desire and your purpose is that residual income and the time freedom or whatever it is that your goal is, nothing else should really stand in the way. Not in a bad way, because obviously we do have crap going on, really serious stuff going on in our lives, but because this is too easy to put down, as in, I'll do it when stuff gets better. I'll do it when this is better. I'll do it when this is stopped. I'll do it when... No, if you've got that burning desire, you're going to do it today, because two mindsets. We go to work. If something major goes on in our life, do we still go to work? Majority of the time. If we didn't go to work, what would happen?
Get paid.
You wouldn't get paid, you get sacked. You'd be jobless. Again, thinking of this business as a £10 business, when something's gone on in my life, it's easy to go, I'll put it down for a bit. I'll wait until things are better. In reality, when is everything perfect? When is life good? As in, nothing's going on, or you know somebody that's got stuff going on. That is really non-existent. It's what we do on a daily basis. Now, I found something whilst I was bringing up the boys, because I knew I was going to be busy, something I could physically do every single day, no matter what was going on in my life. And then 5 things, if people aren't aware, was firstly is obviously recruitment is what I'm all about. Build a team to live the dream. So 10 recruitment reach outs per day. Non-negotiable, that's what I did. Now that could be in conversation with somebody I bumped in the sauna, or somebody's served me at the bar, or whatever that is. Or is it messages on Facebook? Is it reach outs on LinkedIn? Is it people on my list, on my actual list, my friends, my family, my close relatives? Do you know what I mean? So 10 recruitment reach outs. That would be a phone call, in person, text message or voice notes. Number 2, I would then do 5 follow-ups, because out of them 10 people, not everybody is going to reply to you. So then you're going to have to be on the front foot. Most of the people who join the team don't join the first time of asking. You have to follow up. The fortune is in the follow-up, because that proves that it's worth something as well. So if you just throw a message out there and you don't do anything about it, how serious are you about this business? Have you followed up with a phone call? Look, Vic, I know you didn't reply to my text the other day. I'm just making sure everything's all right. Yeah, I'm fine. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was busy. I didn't get around to replying. What is it about anyway? Because who gets busy? Who reads a text and then forgets about it?
Absolutely.
Because it's not important to them yet. They don't know what it's about. So we have to follow up. So 5 follow-ups a day. And then number 3 is a self-development, about getting yourself into that right frame of mind. So I do 15-minute self-development regardless of what's going on in my life. That could be anything from a YouTube clip in the morning, an audio book while I'm taking the dog out for a walk, 15 pages of a book before I go to bed, whatever self-development, because we we always go, yeah, we need to do self-development. But how many of you religiously do self-development on a daily basis?
Right.
Because this business, it's a self-development business. It improves people. And if you're not getting yourself in that right frame of mind, first thing in the morning, it sets you up for the day, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So rather than looking at the news, what's going on, or doom scrolling on Facebook, all the bad negative news and people moaning, get rid of that. Put something positive in your mind first thing in the morning. Like I say, audio, reading, or visual. Get yourself ready. Then go and do all your bits. So that gets you in the right frame of mind, and you're learning all of the time as well, self-development. Is that number 4? Yeah, number 5 was add stuff to your goals list on a daily basis. Because like I said, motivation drops every couple of days, or every day. It's constantly dropping. So you need to keep yourself motivated every single day. So have a goals list. If you haven't already, that's your number 1 tip. Write down a minimum of 25 things that you want to do, to be, or to have in life. And that could be something really simple to really big. Okay. And then with that, because you're adding them onto your list, it reminds you the things that you want to do or things that you've already done. So you can tick it off. And who feels good when they've ticked things off?
Me.
You feel good? Yeah. So tick it off and you feel brilliant, and have that close by. So you're doing that on a daily basis. So you've motivated yourself, you've developed yourself with your self-development, you've done your reach outs, and all of that takes you less than an hour. It'll take you 45 minutes, an hour maximum, if you're doing little stints throughout the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with you. I'm the worst for just scrolling through Facebook nowadays, and I could be spending that time developing myself. Thank you, John. I'm just going to open up the floor to any questions. If you've got a question, just put your hand up, or if you don't want to speak, put it in the chat. But that's been really helpful. Thank you so much.
Can I just say one thing, Vic, before everyone asks any questions? Just put in the chat today, what is your real purpose? As in, what do you really want out of this business? Or what do you really want out of life? What is it that you're working towards? Put it in, and then put in brackets what would be your perfect passive income or residual income figure that would allow you to live the life that you want to live. So put your goal that you want, and then in brackets, what is the residual income look like?
That's supposed to say 10K a month.
So how many is he on here? 20. Should be at least 20 messages in there. But sometimes you might need a little minute, so I'll just give you a little minute. Vicky, you're going to give us a karaoke?
Absolutely not. Nice one, Amos. Yeah. Financial freedom. I mean, exactly that. And for those of you that don't know, because I didn't know this for ages, you can leave your residual income to your kids in your will. You can gift it to them in your will. So setting them up for life as well as yourself.
100%. And that's my purpose. That's what I'm doing it for. And there's 2 things you can do. You can pass it on to them, or they can take over your business. They can become an associate to your business. So it doesn't get retired. It just carries on growing when you've gone. Because obviously if you retire something, it stays. Or they can join your business and it'll just keep on growing. And they can grab hold of it. You know, they can keep running with it when you've gone. And there's nothing else out there that can pay you a passive income like this. You cannot go and sit on a beach for a month, switch your phone off, come back, and it's grown.
Absolutely. And that's just, that's what keeps me going. Just picturing that. It's this opportunity is unreal.
So we've got lots of figures in there. Brilliant. So I want you to grab hold of that figure. Okay. Is that figure going to change your life that you've put in there? And if so, what will it look like when you get to that figure? How would you feel? What would you be able to do with it? Start picturing yourself earning that figure already passively. Don't wait for it to happen. Think it's already happened. Treat it as that you've already happened. And one of the top tips, I'm just gone through top tips. One of the top tips somebody told me years ago, I think when I was even like QD or something, was if you want to be senior group leader, you need to talk, act, and be like a senior group leader today, not when you get to senior group leader. Treat as if you are already senior group leader. How would you act? How would you want your team to see you acting? What would you do? Would you choose to go and do something else rather than going to an event? Would you choose not to pick up the phone because something's going on? How would you treat yourself if you was getting these? I'm seeing the 10,000, 15,000, 5,000, etc. going in the chat there. To get to that figure, already imagine you're getting that figure. Okay, but then treat that the business as that every single day. Not a £10 business, a £10,000 business that I can see popping up in the chat many times, 15,000, etc. That's how important it is to you. And seriously, I can give you advice and tips and stuff, but the biggest thing is knowing why you're doing it. And if that's important enough to you and that nail is rusty enough, you'd get off your backside every single day to grow your business. If that's what you really, really wanted to do out of your life. Or are we happy coasting? Look, everybody's different. Some people go to work and that's fine. But if that is really your desire, that you say that's what you want, you would not stand in it. Nobody would stand in your way. You'd go and make it happen. And if you are stuck, the great thing with this business, you can reset.
Yeah.
We can reset every day, every month, every week, whatever works for you.
Absolutely. Has anyone got any questions they want to ask John?
You can unmute yourselves as well. You can ask if you want. We're all friends. No? Cool. No questions?
So, yeah, I've got one. I've got just one last one. What mistakes in your experience do you find that most new partners make, and how can we avoid making those mistakes? Where do you see time and time again?
It goes back to a lot of things I'm saying, the mindset stuff, and the biggest one for me right at the start would be don't prejudge. Build your list. Do not prejudge who's going to join and who isn't going to join. Just show people the opportunity. Let them decide. And the timing might not be for them right now. But in a week's time, a month's time, when they've just paid for Christmas, you could follow up with them. Now the timing's right. How many people get asked 5, 6, 7 times before they join? We really need to get good at following up. And don't prejudge.
There's a question there actually from Claire, John, which kind of links to what you're saying. How many times do you approach the same person, and how long between each message?
That differs, honestly. It seriously differs between person to person and your how you know that person, what you've shown them, what they've said to you. It is endless, but I mean, I don't know if Zoe's on here. No, Zoe's not on here. But I know I asked Zoe for about 5 years. Every other month, I would ask Zoe, when are you joining? You know, it depends on your personality as well. You get to a point where you can be a little bit more blasé about it. As in, I know once you really see the business, what it does for people, you want it for the people. And I get to that point. What you're doing, you need to get started. You need to get going. You need to get started rather than, oh, would you like to get started? Or um, rather than asking people, I've told people quite bluntly, but then also it's having that posture to walk away. So I know what this can do for you. Now you need this business, not I need you. So it's that posture thing. So it depends on how that conversation's gone, depending on how many times I'd ask, if that makes sense. So using my posture, it's like interviewing them. They want to tell me why they should be joining our team, not me wanting to get them to join, if that makes sense. But I'll definitely ask at least 3 times. At least 3 times.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else got any other questions, or are you done?
I know we quickly jump in there. I know you wanted to set this up for people to get restarted again. And one of the things that I've done a lot in the past, and what we can all do, is today draw a line in the sand. Okay, today's your day one. And I would set myself the next 30 days like an action plan, as in, I've just started the business again, because we can start this business again every day. How grateful, what other business can do that? So if stuff has gone on and you've put it down for whatever reason, today's day one. What can I achieve in the next 30 days? Okay. And I've got it. It's in the Facebook group, actually, in the Team Synergy Facebook group. If you go into files, there's a 90-day plan. So what I did, I still do actually, every 90 days, I set a plan out for them 90 days. What do I want my group to look like in the next 90 days? What do I want to do personally in the next 90 days? What achievements do I want to achieve in them 90 days? And then break it down into months, and then into weeks, and then into days of what you're going to do. And that's where you do your review. So you can review from month one, what's worked well, what's not worked so well, and then reflect, can't we? And then we can revise what we're going to do for the next month. We just need to start treating it a little bit more of a real business, because you'd do that in business, wouldn't you? If you was in a sales job or anything, you'd be reviewing your figures every week, every month. And if things weren't going up, you'd get the sack. It's simple as that. So treat this like that if you need to. I've had a lot of people in the team that needed to do something like that. So what I did was not in a like acting like a boss kind of way in a job, but I'd say, right, on a Sunday, send me across what you've done that week, as in a daily method of operation. How many people did you speak to? What were your ratios? What was your daily method of operation? And you should just put it in a spreadsheet and then just send me it on a Sunday and go, John, this is what I've done this week. Because it made them accountable. It wasn't for me to shout at them or tell them not doing it because it's your own business, but it made them accountable.
Yeah, pretty agree. Danny's got a hand up.
Yeah, can I just mention, if anyone's interested, there is a WhatsApp group that does daily power hours. So anyone's welcome into that group. There's also a group for neighborhood letters. If people want to learn how to do neighborhood letters, if you've never done them before, there's loads of tools out there. It's just knowing where to find them. And they do come in handy. If you're on a dip, they do help. Because we're all busy. Team synergy it's just constant, and it can sometimes make those people that are new to the business a little afraid. So if these groups are, can help you manage that and get used to the quickness of everything, then by all means, let me know. Drop in Team Synergy if you want to join, and I'll send you the links. That's not a problem.
Thank you, Danny.
No worries.
Accountability buddies.
Yeah.
All right, brilliant. Thank you, John. That was, you are the Yoda of Team Synergy. It's true. And yeah, hopefully, I think everybody took something great away from this, and let's do this.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers,
Thanks.
guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.